Avoid these 3 veggies to protect your joints. Eat these instead for more energy. Science-backed. Have you ever stood in your kitchen, holding a vegetable you've trusted your whole life, maybe a potato, an eggplant, or a handful of chopped bell peppers, and thought, "This is good for me"? Right. For most of us, those foods are more than just ingredients. They're memories, Sunday dinners, comfort, a sense of doing something healthy. But after decades of sitting with patients in quiet exam rooms, I've seen a different picture emerge, one that's rarely talked about. The truth is, after the age of 60, our bodies change in subtle ways. Our blood doesn't flow quite as freely. Our nerves don't fire as quickly, and inflammation tends to linger longer than it should, and certain vegetables, the very ones we once believed were always healthy, can now quietly work against us. They may cause stiffness in your knees, fogginess in your mind, or even rob you of your confidence on the stairs. This isn't about fear, it's about clarity. Because there are also vegetables that can revive your circulation, sharpen your memory, and strengthen your step. So let's take a walk together. Not just through your kitchen, but through the choices that shape how you feel, how you move, and how you age. Come with me. Let's find out which vegetables may be quietly aging you and which ones can bring you back to life. Part 1. The 3 vegetables that quietly work against you. 1. White potatoes, the comfort food that wears you down. Let's begin with a vegetable that has brought warmth and familiarity to countless dinner plates, the white potato. Mashed, baked, or fried, it's a staple in American kitchens and a centerpiece at holiday meals. There's comfort in it, nostalgia, even. But once we pass the age of 60, comfort must sometimes make room for caution. White potatoes have a very high glycemic index, which means they quickly break down into sugar once digested. When we were younger, our bodies could handle that sugar spike more gracefully. But now the results are different. Fast sugar surges stress the blood vessels, especially the smallest capillaries that serve the brain, legs, and feet. Over time, repeated blood sugar spikes lead to inflammation, and inflammation damages the very systems that keep us steady and sharp. I once had a patient, Diane, a retired school librarian who loved her creamy mashed potatoes. She began to notice something subtle, waking up with cold feet, feeling unbalanced on stairs, and forgetting little things like where she placed her glasses. We took a close look at her meals. White potatoes, especially when topped with butter or sour cream, were a nightly ritual. We replaced them with roasted carrots and broccoli. 2 weeks later, she said something I won't forget. "I feel like I've thawed out. My legs feel alive again." The lesson here isn't to fear the foods that once brought you joy, it's to understand their impact on your body now. A small swap can mean more than just calories. It can mean waking up with strength in your step. 2. Eggplant, the beautiful culprit behind your morning stiffness. There's something elegant about eggplant. Its deep violet skin, glossy and smooth, makes it look like one of the healthier items in the produce section. It blends well into stews, roasts, and Mediterranean dishes, but for many older adults, eggplant has a hidden side. Eggplant belongs to the nightshade family, along with tomatoes, peppers, and white potatoes. These plants contain solanine, a natural compound that helps protect them from insects, but in some human bodies, particularly aging ones. Solanine can trigger low-level inflammation. This inflammation doesn't roar like an injury. It whispers, a little joint stiffness in the morning, a sense of heaviness in your thighs when you try to climb the stairs, that dragging feeling in your lower back, even after a good night's sleep. I remember a gentleman named Carl, a retired truck driver. He came in complaining that he felt like he was moving through molasses. No obvious pain, just sluggishness and stiff knees. He mentioned his wife's favorite dish, roasted eggplant lasagna. They ate it twice a week. we decided to test a theory. He avoided eggplant for 3 weeks. By his next visit, Carl's gait was smoother and his voice lighter. "I didn't think it was the food," he said, "but I feel like I'm not carrying bricks in my knees anymore." Now, not everyone reacts to eggplant this way. Some people tolerate nightshades perfectly. But if you struggle with joint tightness, back stiffness, or nerve discomfort, try removing eggplant for a short while and see how your body responds. The results may surprise you and free you. 3. Green bell peppers, the bright vegetable that can dull your digestion. Crisp, colorful, and common in salads, stir-fries, and wraps. Green bell peppers seem like a healthy choice, and for many, they are. But for some older adults, they carry a less obvious risk. Green peppers are actually unripened red or yellow peppers, and they contain higher levels of lectins, natural proteins that plants use to protect themselves. In our aging digestive systems, these lectins can sometimes do more harm than good. Here's what happens. Lectins can bind to the lining of the gut, irritating it and potentially creating small openings that allow unwanted particles into the bloodstream. This process, often referred to as leaky gut, can quietly spark chronic inflammation. Not loud, not dramatic, but enough to make your joints feel a little stiffer, your digestion a bit slower, or your mind slightly foggy. Susan, a former nurse, came to me with those very complaints. Bloating after meals, ankle stiffness in the morning, and trouble focusing by mid-afternoon. Her salads were full of raw green peppers. She loved the crunch. But once we took a break from them and added in orange and yellow peppers instead, the difference was clear. Her body responded with less bloating, easier digestion, and steadier mornings. You don't have to give up bell peppers entirely. Just be mindful. Ripe varieties like red, yellow, and orange have lower lectin content and more antioxidants, making them gentler and more nourishing. And if you enjoy green peppers, try them cooked rather than raw, which can help reduce their lectin load. Because sometimes it's not about eliminating a food forever. It's about listening closely to your body and letting your choices evolve just as you do. So far, we've explored 3 familiar vegetables that may not serve your body the way they once did, not because they're bad, but because your body's needs are different now. What once fueled your youth may now quietly inflame your joints, slow your circulation, or muddy your clarity. But here's the heartening truth: just as some foods can drain you, others can restore you. In the next part of our journey, we'll explore the vegetables that truly nourish your brain, your legs, and your confidence foods that are gentle, healing, and quietly powerful. Let's continue. Part 2. The 3 vegetables that restore, rebuild, and revive. 1. Carrots, the orange thread that connects sight, balance, and spirit. Carrots are one of those vegetables we often overlook. They're common, humble, familiar, tossed into stews or nibbled raw. They don't demand attention. But for those of us in our 60s, 70s, or beyond, carrots deserve a second look. Inside each crisp orange root is a powerful compound called beta-carotene, which your body transforms into vitamin A, essential for maintaining healthy vision, especially in low light. As we age, the risk of macular degeneration increases, making it harder to read, recognize faces, or drive at night. Losing our eyesight, even just a little, can shrink our world. But carrots do more than protect your eyes. Their antioxidants help reduce oxidative stress, the slow breakdown of cells caused by time, inflammation, and environmental damage. In particular, they protect tiny nerve endings and blood vessels in your legs and feet. When those connections stay strong, messages travel quickly from your brain to your muscles. You react faster, move more confidently, and feel more grounded, whether stepping off a curb or climbing stairs. One of my patients, Annette, told me that after adding a cup of lightly steamed carrots to her lunch each day, she noticed fewer stumbles, steadier walking, and more vibrant energy in the afternoon. She said, "It's like I got my feet back under me." Carrots are easy to add in roasted, steamed, or even blended into soups. They're affordable, available year-round, and surprisingly powerful. And sometimes strength comes not from the exotic, but from the everyday. 2. Broccoli, nature's architect of circulation, clarity, and calm. If I could place one vegetable on every plate of every senior I care for, it would be broccoli. This unassuming green bundle holds more healing power than most of us realize. Inside, it contains a compound called sulforaphane, a natural anti-inflammatory that protects the brain, joints, and circulatory system. In an aging body where inflammation is often the quiet root of stiffness, fog, or fatigue, this is critical. Sulforaphane helps your body respond better to stress. It supports the detoxification process, strengthens blood vessel function, and even promotes healthy blood sugar levels. A key factor in preserving nerve health and avoiding neuropathy in the legs. Broccoli is also high in vitamin K, calcium, and fiber nutrients that support bone health, digestion, and vascular flexibility. Let me tell you about Harold again, the retired truck driver I mentioned earlier. Every evening, he used to eat a large serving of buttery mashed potatoes. After swapping those for a simple bowl of steamed broccoli with olive oil and lemon, something shifted. His knees felt steadier, his feet warmer, his mind clearer. After 3 weeks, he told me, "I'm not scared of the stairs anymore." That's what healing food does. It doesn't just lower blood pressure, it lifts fear. It doesn't just improve circulation, it restores freedom. So the next time you reach for a side dish, choose the green one. Your legs, your heart, and your confidence will thank you. 3. Spinach, the leafy green that awakens blood flow and brain power. And now, let's talk about spinach, a quiet ally that works tirelessly in the background. Spinach is rich in organic nitrates, natural compounds that help dilate blood vessels, increasing oxygen delivery to muscles, nerves, and the brain. That means faster reflexes, clearer thoughts, and more responsive movement. And that matters because most falls don't happen from weakness. They happen from delayed signals between the brain and the legs. Spinach also provides a pair of remarkable antioxidants, lutein and zeaxanthin. These protect the macula, the center of your retina responsible for sharp vision. As we age, that protection becomes vital because without clear vision, we hesitate, we withdraw, we lose confidence in motion. I think of Marjorie, an 81-year-old widow who began adding a handful of spinach to her morning smoothie. Within weeks, she told me she felt more awake not just in body, but in spirit. She wasn't hesitating at doorways anymore. She joined her neighbor for walks again. Spinach is also a rich source of magnesium, vitamin K, and folate, which support mood, bone strength, and nerve function. And the best part, it's versatile. Add it to omelets, soups, sandwiches, or just saute it lightly with garlic and olive oil. You don't need a pound. Just a handful a day can awaken parts of your body that had quietly started to dim. As we've seen, not all vegetables are created equal, especially not in the second half of life. Some that once sustained us may now stir up silent harm. Others, overlooked in their simplicity, may be our greatest allies. You don't need to fear your food, but you do need to know it. Each meal is an opportunity, a conversation between your body and what you choose to give it. And when you choose foods that nurture rather than inflame, the body often responds with gratitude, a steadier gait, a clearer thought, a deeper breath. In the final part of our journey, let's take a quiet moment to gather all these lessons and remind ourselves what they truly mean. A quiet pause. The power of one small change. Before we wrap up, Allow me to offer one final reflection, something I've witnessed not in textbooks, but in the gentle unfolding of real lives. When people come to see me, people like you, they're often overwhelmed by pills, by scans, by the sense that things are slipping and they're not sure where to begin reclaiming them. And the truth is, most meaningful change doesn't begin with a full pantry overhaul or a perfectly optimized meal plan. It begins with one thoughtful choice. One vegetable, one swap, one quiet moment of paying attention. You may not be able to control every aspect of aging, but you can shape its path. When you choose spinach over processed greens or carrots instead of starchy fillers, you're not just feeding your body, you're sending a message. I still care. I still want to move freely. I still want to remember names, dance at weddings, and walk beside those I love without fear. And your body listens. It always has. In my practice, I've seen patients regain the steadiness in their steps, the sharpness in their minds, and even the brightness in their eyes simply by aligning their food with their needs. Not perfection, not restriction, just intention. So if all of this feels like a lot, start small. One new vegetable on your plate, 1 week without the one that causes pain, one mindful grocery run. Let food become not just sustenance, but a quiet act of healing, a way of coming back to yourself. You deserve that, not just because you're aging, but because you're living, still here, still choosing, still capable of feeling strong, steady, and awake in your own skin. And in a world that so often rushes past people your age, this quiet act of self-care is, in fact, a bold act of self-respect. Let that be your beginning. So now, my friend, we've come full circle. We began with a quiet question, one that many never think to ask: could the vegetables I've always trusted be gently working against me now? And the answer, as life so often teaches us, is nuanced. Not everything that was once good remains good forever, and not all harm announces itself with pain or warning. Sometimes it whispers through foggy thinking, slow steps, or knees that don't quite feel like your own. But here's the beauty: just as certain foods can dim your vitality, others can restore it bite by bite. White potatoes, eggplant, and green bell peppers may need a second look, especially if you've been dealing with unexplained stiffness, nerve sensitivity, or balance issues. That doesn't make them bad. It just means they may not serve you in this chapter of life. In contrast, carrots, broccoli, and spinach have shown time and again, both in research and in my own patients' lives, that they support blood flow, sharpen the mind, and protect the strength in your legs and spirit. Think of Harold. One quiet shift: broccoli instead of potatoes, and his body began to speak again. More energy, more stability, more freedom. And that's the true message here: you are not powerless. You are not too late. Every day, with every meal, you cast a vote for strength or for surrender, and those votes add up. If this video spoke to something in you, if it reminded you of someone you love, share it with them. Let's keep each other strong. And tell me in the comments below, which vegetable surprised you today? Did you spot one on your plate? Or perhaps one you've been avoiding without knowing it might heal? Your body is always listening. And today, you listened back.